Is the MacBook Pro a pro device? Now, this question might seem kind of silly because obviously if it's called the MacBook Pro, it's made for pros and pros can take advantage of it. But the reason I'm asking that question is because the past few years, the MacBook Pro has not been a device that pro users can actually tap into the full potential of. Number one, they thermal throttle, they don't have the I/O, and the battery life doesn't last enough for pros to take it on the go and actually use it as it was intended as a laptop on the go. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brand new M1X and M1 Pro MacBook Pros and put them through the test and see if these MacBook Pros are actual pro devices. So I'm going to go line by line, talk about the design, the power, the portability, and the battery life, and see if these new MacBook Pros are actually pro devices that pro users can take advantage of and use as a laptop. If you're new to my channel, my name is Joey, and I typically make videos on Apple, Apple news, Apple products, Apple things, speculation about what Apple is going to drop in the future, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my future content. With that said, let's start with the first thing, and that is ports. Obviously, the previous MacBook Pro had 4 USB-C ports, which a lot of people were kind of disappointed with. They wanted that HDMI, they wanted the SD card slot, but these new MacBook Pros actually deliver. They have HDMI, they have SD card slot, headphone jack, and they have USB-C. So it doesn't matter what you're using, if you're filming on a video camera, if you need to plug into an external display, or if you need to make a presentation at your job, you're gonna have the I/O and you're gonna be able to use that on the go. Now let's talk about the design of these new MacBook Pros. Obviously the M1 Pro and the M1 Max MacBook Pro, doesn't matter if you get it in the 14 or a 16 inch, they have that brand new redesigned unibody aluminum shell, which is timeless and it's gonna last a long time. Even if you look at a MacBook Pro back from 2012, that unibody aluminum design, it still doesn't look that dated because Apple doesn't change things and they get things right on the first time. So if you look at this MacBook Pro and you compare it to a MacBook Pro from years back, they look very similar because if it's not broken, it doesn't need to be fixed. It's timeless and it's gonna last a long time. Another thing about these new MacBook Pros, they come with a brand new mini LED ProMotion 120 Hz display, which gets super bright, which is great for using outdoors. Now, a laptop is typically a device that people bring to the outside, bring to the office, use in their house. So having that 1000 nits of peak brightness is definitely a game changer when it comes to actually using the laptop outside as it was intended. So this is definitely going to be future-proofed, and the quality and the vibrance of the display is definitely going to make this laptop last a lot longer into the future if you make the investment up front and buy it now. The third thing we're going to talk about is portability. Now, obviously, these are laptops. A lot of people use them docked like I do, but these are laptops and these are made to be used on the go on battery life. Now, there's 3 main things about these batteries that are game changers for the MacBook Pro. Number one, they're going to last a long time, and that's good for 2 reasons. Number one, when you're on the go, you don't have to plug in and you can use it as long as you want. You're going to get a solid 8, 10, 12 hours plus on these new MacBook Pros, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're doing something more graphically intensive, it's not going to last as long, but these MacBook Pros are going to last you a full day of work no matter what you do. Now, the second reason why this is such a big deal is because not only can you use these on the go on battery, but you're not going to sacrifice on the power. A lot of Windows laptops, when you use them on battery, the power isn't as sufficient. They don't go all the way up to the peak power of the chips. This new Apple Silicon is able to output max power on battery, and that is a really big deal because Windows laptops cannot do that, and Apple laptops in the past have not been able to do that either. So the fact that these new Apple Silicon MacBooks can do that, that is pretty game changing. And the third reason why this new battery life is game changing is because obviously these are lithium batteries, and over time, lithium batteries lose the amount of battery life they have. Obviously, you see it on iPhones, you see it on other lithium ion battery products. The fact that these out of the box have 12, 15 hours of battery life, that means that even when your battery degrades to about 80%, 70% capacity, you're still going to get a solid day's worth of battery. So the fact that you're getting excellent battery now means that when your battery degrades, you're going to be getting great battery, and then eventually you're going to have good battery. So the battery degradation won't matter as much because the battery is so excellent now. And last but not least, let's talk about the silicon in these MacBook Pros. Both the M1 Pro and the M1 Max MacBook Pros have shown to be able to handle anything you throw at them, be it video editing, photo editing, multiple streams of 4K in the same timeline with music and color grading. It can handle pretty much anything. And that is something that is going to give creative people peace of mind to know that if they make the investment up front and buy these MacBook Pros right now, that it's going to last them well into the future of their creative journey, and they're going to be able to grow with these laptops as they grow their YouTube channel or their side business or whatever it is they want to do with these MacBook Pros. Pretty much, like Apple says, it unleashes a whole new level of portability and creativity that these creators can use these laptops for. Not only is this new silicon fast, but it's also efficient. And that is one thing that Apple likes to do. They don't just like to throw power at a problem. They like to take something and make sure that it's refined and it's actually implemented properly so that when you're using something, not only is it powerful, but it's also going to be efficient. So to answer the question, are these new MacBook Pros actually pro devices? And I think I can finally say that now the MacBook Pros are actually back to being pro devices. These are devices that are absolutely for pros. These are not for the regular person that wants to check their email or wants to browse the internet. These are for pro devices. These are machines and these are tools. These are meant to be used as tools. So if you're somebody who's a creative who needs the power, these are the ones for you. If not, the MacBook Air, the M1 MacBook Pro are definitely solid choices, and the Mac Mini is supposed to be redesigned soon. So make sure you check out my video that I made on the Mac Mini, what's expected to come, or you can check out my channel and check out some of my other videos. If you're into Apple, if you're into tech, there's a chance that you're gonna like some of my older catalog videos, so make sure you check those out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.